is, what does God want done? And at the time, I was in rock and roll. I was running bands, Duran Duran, The Police, Van Halen, Boy George, making a lot of money, all this. And then Fuller said, what good does Duran Duran do? What good do the Police do? I didn't know. He says, but I make a lot of money. And Fuller said, but what does God want done? And that was the question. And I didn't know for years, and suddenly it came to me, there's no financial education in school. I just wrote a story of my life. I had a rich dad and a poor dad.
Yep.
My poor dad was a PhD. My poor dad was a PhD from Stanford and Northwestern. And my rich dad never went to school. So one day, I'm sitting in my little cabin in Arizona, and I started writing a book that said I had a rich dad and I had a poor dad. And it's because I saw this financial crisis coming that's here today, and the gap between rich and poor is getting wider. I think America's going down because we're Marxists, because most school teachers are Marxists, as I said today. They don't know it. So we're in serious, serious trouble as the American empire. So about 25 years ago, I wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, not to get famous, not to get rich, because I just thought that that's what God wanted done.
Yeah, well, I would love to ask a question. If you want to bypass this question, feel free. But I've never heard you answer this question. But where do you see God? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, are you a universe guy? Do you have a faith in something? Like, where's that like for you?
I'll give you a long answer to a short question.
All right.
I flunked out of Sunday school also. I flunked out of high school. I flunked out of everything. But my mom, I kept bitching. I said, I don't want to go to Sunday. I don't want to go. Sunday, I want to go surfing. I want to do this. So the deal I had to make was I had to go to Sunday school until I was 12, or church, should I say. But I had to, my mom and dad didn't tell me what church to go to. Our family was Methodist, so we're Christian. But I could go to any church I wanted to go to. So I went to Buddhist temple, I went to Jewish synagogue, I went to Mormons. I checked it out, man.
Yeah.
And up until I was 12. And then I realized they're all saying the same thing. And so my religion is, I support the freedom of religion, and I do sense there's a God, but I'm not a member of any organized religion, which pisses off my fundamentalist Christian friends because they all want to convert me. My Mormon friends always try to convert me. Yep. I said, look, leave me alone. I support your choice of your religion or not religion. That's where I'm at. But I do sense there's a higher power because this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is being driven by something not with me.
Yeah.
It came from Bucky Fuller saying, what does God want done?
Yeah.
And so I ask everybody out there, what does God want you to do? And only you know.
Yeah. That's powerful, man. Yeah, I mean, there's some things in this universe that just seem to take off for whatever reason that we can't understand.
Right.
And Rich Dad, Poor Dad was clearly one of those things. I mean, as Steve Jobs has that quote about putting a dent in the universe. Like, that book put a dent in the universe. Yeah. So here's a question. How does that affect you you get a lot of people that say, hey, you changed my life. Yeah. How do you keep ego in check? How do you keep ahead? Because you seem like a normal guy. So how do you keep that in check?
Well, number one, I was a U.S. Marine. And in the Marine Corps, you don't have much of an ego. Yeah. You know what I mean? They make sure that's in check. But the hard part for me is just saying thank you to people. Not hard, but thank you.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about something we were talking about prior to the show is why are people so screwed up? Like this Limitless program is fantastic, one of the best I've ever been to because it has the spectrum.
Yeah.
You have people from Deepak Chopra's place and all this, and I sit there listening to I come to learn, so I'm trying to say. But people still come up to me and say, tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And I realized then, a lot of times that's the problem with people who went to school and did well. They're used to the teacher telling them what to do. So they come out in the real world and they're looking around for somebody to tell them what to do. That's number one. And the second thing that's a problem is that, I'm not saying it goes on in this seminar or this conference, but I meet so many people, it's called puffery. And I said, I made $41 million in 2 hours. And they stand on stage and tell you that. Yep. How do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know somebody's rich? How do you know somebody's poor? And so a lot of times I'm not religious, but when I was in Sunday schools, beware of false gods. And a lot of times on these seminars, there's a lot of people who want to play God.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's the sucker that falls in line with them.
Yep.
So I'm honored that people come up and say, my book changed my life, because I didn't take any money from some book. But it concerns me that our education system is so Marxist, which was my talk this morning.
Yeah.
You know, the Federal Reserve Bank is Marxist.
Well, does that worry you? The people that just want to be told what to do, that actually fits really well. And I mean, we talked about the Marxist thing earlier, but it kind of fits very well with that sort of the way the U.S. seems to be moving, which is people want to be told what to do, and then there's these people saying, okay, well, do this, fall in line, don't speak, and that's a downward cycle that worries me. Yes.
And even today, this grown man came up to me and asked me, tell me what I should do. And I'm going, he has successful, he's got money and all this, but too many people leave school waiting for somebody to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
And they're successful. They cannot think for themselves.
Yeah.
That's my concern.